Good morning and welcome to Crocker's Crazy Living. If you're new this morning, thank you for coming in. If you've been with me for a while, thank you for joining me this morning. I wanted to do this quick little video because I wanted to update you on a couple of things that I wanted to change on those baked bean recipe for the canned baked beans that I did this week. My husband and I opened up a jar last night and we warmed them up. I had to add some extra water to those, and I added some barbecue sauce, some of my homemade barbecue sauce to them, and then warmed them up, and they were very, very delicious. But because I used a standard quart jar, and I filled it almost 3/4 full of beans, and then I put onions on the top. That was a little bit too much because, as you saw on some of those jars, the juice came down to about this far, and it was just slam full of beans. So it didn't make as much sauce in the jar as I would have liked. So this is my suggestions for what I would change the next time. Put the beans in a wide-mouthed jar. Only fill those beans half full if you're going to use Great Northern beans on the quick soak. I think next time I try to make them, I'm going to try to use the navy beans. Honestly, I couldn't get navy beans in my grocery store. When I went to the grocery store the other day to look for beans, the beans on the shelf were very scarce because right now is hurricane season here in Florida. And everybody that went through Hurricane Ian knows that when it's time to prepare your emergency hurricane kit with staple foods that don't go bad, beans is being one of them, people go and buy stuff up. So the beans were very scarce. I found the Great Northern beans, they were 2-pound bags, and there was only 2 on the shelf. 2-pound bags, and I bought them both. They were just very scarce, so I might try next time going down to Walmart and checking their beans. And I might try the navy beans. Most of the people on the videos were doing the navy beans. They were suggesting not using pinto beans because apparently the pinto beans mush up too much. Now, the pinto beans would be fine if you're going to make refried beans, because that's all a refried bean is mashed up beans, and it's put in a can. That's all it is mashed beans. You can make your own beans, if you want to do that. So that would be suggestion number 1, is use a wide-mouthed jar, because I think there's a little bit more space in the wide-mouthed jar than there is in a standard jar. So fill the jar half full. With the onions, that lady only used, I got the recipe from, she only used a 1/4 cup in each jar. I would probably use a 1/2 cup because the beans cooked down so much you didn't even know they were in there. I couldn't even see the onions. Or you could leave the onions out and then add onions to it when you're, like saute some onions and throw it in there when you're warming it up. That would be a good thing to do as well. But I would probably put a 1/2 cup of onion in there if I was going to do it in the jar. And then fill the jar with the liquid, the sauce liquid, to just under the 1-inch headspace mark. because I know that one lady did that when she was doing her pints, and I think she was doing it to keep it from boiling over into the canner. I'm trying to just think real quick if there was anything else I would suggest changing. They're very good beans. It's a bigger bean, so you get a big bean flavor. And my husband, he just doesn't do a lot of baked beans. He just, for some reason, I don't know. He used to eat beans all the time. I love, one of the things I love to make is ham and beans with cornbread. I love that. And he just doesn't care for that stuff sometimes. So he absolutely thought they were delicious. So he was very happy. And like I said, I added a good amount. I bet you I added between 1/4 and 1/2 cup of my homemade barbecue sauce and about 1/4 cup or so of water, because they're thick. And then I just mixed it up and I warmed them real slow, and they were really good. So that's a good recipe. Even my son liked them. And he's been the baked bean man lately. I taught him how to make my baked beans using canned baked beans. And of course, I would get the cheap cans of pork and beans and doctor them up. And he gets the good beans, the really good flavored beans, and then he doctors those up. But he's gotten to make the baked beans better than I do. So when we have a barbecue or a get together and somebody says make beans, he's the one that gets to make the beans. So anyway, I think that's it. I just wanted to update on that, because that was some insight that I was figuring out when I took those beans out of the canner. I was trying to think of how can I fix this little issue. But other than that, I think it's a delicious recipe. They're very easy to do. I am going to cut that sauce recipe in half because I ended up with that extra sauce, and I found containers to put it in. I froze it. I marked it and I froze it. So when I make them again, I can pull out that juice, that liquid, and I can start with that as opposed to making new. I will have to make some new sauce to go with it, but I am going to cut that recipe in half. And I'm going to keep with the tomato base, but instead of adding 2 quarts of water to the 1 quart of tomato juice, I'm only going to use 1 quart of water, because then you have your sugar, your molasses, and you have all that other stuff that goes in it. I think that'll be better as far as how much is going to be left over. Had I filled the jars less with beans, I might have used more of that juice, but I don't think I would have used all that I had left over. So anyway, I think that's all I had for you today, this morning. Thank you for watching Cracker's Crazy Living. If you have not yet subscribed to my page and you like my information and you like to see what I do, please hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, ring the bell. It will notify you when I have a new post. Until we meet again, thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And I'll see you next time on Cracker's Crazy Living. Thank you. Bye.